Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, very special days, these last 2 days of the year. Right after Christmas, we usually meet and have 2 shows to go before we wrap the whole thing up. At a perfect time each and every year to do what we have referred to as the year in review. So today, I'm going to take the opportunity to go backwards in time, starting in January of 2013, 2014 rather, working my way through each and every month, pointing out to you the specific guests we had that month. I'll be giving you the dates, the times, so that you can, if you just follow me with a piece of paper, should be able to go to my website and dial up any one of these shows and be pretty easily and able to identify them and get them available for your re-listening enjoyment. Now, if in the course of our discussion today you want to call and ask a question or make a comment about any one of these shows, the number to do that, as you should know by now, is to dial us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. I'll listen for that knock on the door. And I will let you in the store. It is a year in review, 2014 review part 1 today. That's January through June. Part 2 on Wednesday, July through December. Picking out those highlights, pointing them out to you, and giving you dates, times, and places so you can go back and recheck them, re-listen to them at your leisure. Now, see what we got in the up and coming in terms of the rest of this month, and then as we turn the page, and we will be turning that big page to year 2015 here by midweek. And as we return back from our New Year's Eve and New Year's Day events, on Friday we're going to do a show, bring Patty Szymanski on the show. She, of course, is a director, the head instructor of the TLS program. We've been promoting this for the last few weeks, knowing full well we have a new group forming. Those that have benefited from the older group, that was the September 27th group. They met every week for 10 weeks at the South Point Chiropractic office of Dr. Tyson Swigert. We've heard from them in terms of how well they think that program worked for them, and I was really pleased to see that their testimonials were right on target. I was glad to have the opportunity to present them to you literally last week. We're going to bring Patty on Friday to give some final words, because you know we have a meet, greet, and treat scheduled for this Saturday. If you have the fortitude to put in play your New Year's resolution, and if it happens to do with personal development as well as weight loss and dieting, you may want to get some help through the new TLS program, which we're going to be having starting on January 10th. Now, to find out if it's a program for you and to get your questions answered, we're going to meet on Saturday the 3rd. It's this coming Saturday, the 3rd, at 10 o'clock at Dr. Tiger Swigert's office at that South Point exit on I-79, where for about an hour you have a chance to meet Patty, Dr. Swigert, myself will be there, encouraging you to sign up and enjoy yourself for 10 weeks. The people who did that program for the last 10 weeks, to the person, we're very pleased that they did take the time, and you just might as well get used to the possibility that we offer these programs here. We're going to continue to do it on a literally quarterly basis. So let's see how things work for you. Meet, greet, and treat at the Tyson Swigert office called South Point Chiropractic, 10 o'clock. We're going to have a Beresha tasting. It'll be the first Beresha tasting of the year. Get you used to the product line. I think Patricia Szymanski has completely endorsed the use of those products, found them to be great go-to products. Whether you're in the program or just at home, this may be something that you want to try and get involved with too. Okay, then on the 5th of January, Susie Weiss is going to be our guest. Of course, that's in preparation for her coming aboard on Thursday the 8th. Now, that's not the first Thursday, because the first Thursday is January 1. That's New Year's Day. But on January 8th, we'll have a Young Living group here in my office, 10 o'clock. For those of you who are learning more and would like to learn more about essential oils and how they can be used to help you improve your health status. So if you think you have a mind to want to be involved, give us a call so we reserve a spot for you. The call to 724-942-3002 to allow us to save a seat for you and to spend an hour or two with Susie to get acclimated. I noticed that she has a lot of repeaters started coming, and then they don't miss it. So there are the standard repeat individuals who just enjoy having one day set aside to work with the essential oils. And then there's new folks who are just learning and just beginning to become aware of how helpful the Young Living products are and the essential oils. So Susie's our guest on Monday for an office presentation here on Thursday, 10 o'clock. On the 7th, Dr. Vava Vavoom herself will be back. She'll be giving us all sorts of great hints for the new year, and we'll be very excited to listen to her carry on as only Susan Smith-Jones can. And as we get to the night, now night is a Friday, and it really won't involve you, but this is another one of these events where in the afternoon on the 9th, I'm going to do a pre-recorded show with our good friend Dr. Ty Vincent. Dr. Vincent is the new head guy, the new guru of the LDA movement. That stands for low dose antigen. We brought him to you in the month of December. I really highly suggest that you go back and catch the repeat show. We did it with him. It was on air after we recorded it on December the 8th. So that was part 1 of LDA, and now part 2 really gets down to the nitty-gritty, what I believe will be the paradigm shift for treating very serious diseases, and especially Lyme's disease, where at last count, Dr. Ty Vincent had claimed that in the last 6 months, he had treated over 80 patients and has been able to correct, reverse, turn around, I don't know how you say it, 95% of those with Lyme's. Because, as he found out, Lyme's is not an infectious disease, as I believe the conventional world wants to make it. They continue to throw antibiotics at it, and they just will not win, has not won anybody any favors up to this point, because what happens is after its microbial implantation in the human being, it then becomes an autoimmune disease, and that is what has made it very tough. It takes an immunological therapy to reverse an autoimmune disease. That's what LDA is. I'm going to be hearing all about it on the 12th with Ty Vincent back here. Part 2, LDA, autoimmune diseases, and particularly Lyme's as well as others. That's about the long and the short of it as it stands right now for the guests as they line up for January. Hope you'll be a part of the show for 2015. And as I add additional guests to it, I hope you enjoy being a part of it too. We've got a lot of things going on in 2015. These three-letter combinations, excuse me, these three-letter combinations pretty much tell it all. We started to have this discussion the other day. Just quickly, TLS is a transition lifestyle system. That is the weight reduction program and carbohydrate control program that we're going to be offering on Saturdays starting on January 10th for 10 weeks. FSM, frequency-specific microcurrent, is going to have a prominent role to play in my office. Shannon Gosen will be spearheading that project. LDA, well, of course, we've already mentioned LDA. Made a big turn, big twist. Interesting enough, no rules now. The problem with LDA for so many has been the stringent rules that the previous head of the movement, Dr. William Butch Schrader, said that everyone had to follow. We find out now, no rules. It should be easy for you to be involved with LDA now. Ultraviolet blood irradiation, ozone therapy in the form of MAH, major artery hemotherapy, as well as prednisone. These are the therapies that really got installed in this particular office over 2014, and will have a very good life expectancy in the year 2015, and we'll let it go at that. Okay, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, get a pencil and paper ready. If you think you'd like to re-listen to any of the shows that maybe caught your fancy way back when, but you sort of lost track, you don't know how to find them, well, they're on my website, but I'll give you the dates, the times, the places, and the people when we return, when we begin our year in review, Part 1, 2014. There are some good people on our show. Love to bring them back to you, and I'll give you an idea of where they'll be when we return. Be right back. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Monday morning version of the show. Last two shows of the year have been traditionally where we walk down memory lane and take a look at our guests as they presented to us over the previous year. 2014 was a very good year. So I'm going to take that walk with you today and point out to you the famous people that we've had on the show, the date that they were here, some interesting things about why they were here, some sides maybe that didn't make it into the show the day we did it, but my remembrances of those guests as I did the show would be very nice if I passed those on to you. So here we are, and we're in January 2014. I should say that I met a fascinating gentleman in December of 2013, 1 month earlier, when I was out in Phoenix, Arizona for a conference held by AHIMA, which is the Arizona Homeopathic and Integrative Medical Association. Arizona is a unique situation because they got two medical boards, the standard medical board for everybody else, and then they have their own unique medical board comprised of alternative doctors, the intention of which is should anyone have a question or concern or complaint or anything else regarding the non-conventional therapies that are used by us, the adjudication should be done by doctors equally trained. Seems like a good concept to me. Anyway, Arizona is sort of a hotbed of alternative medicine for that very reason. And we were out there for a conference with one Dr. Frank Shallenberger. Dr. Shallenberger, of course, is been credited as being known as the godfather of ozone therapy. And it was a fascinating weekend I spent with him. He had a special conference that he taught everybody in the group the basics of ozone therapy. Got me very much excited and interested in becoming trained and qualified to be able to use ozone therapy. And that necessitated a relationship that really began here with you in January, just a few weeks later, for our first show on ozone. We called it Ozone Part 1, but it was the day Frank Shallenberger came to our airways, and, well, they haven't been the same since. The gentleman is overpowering in his presentation and his sincerity behind how he's learned how well ozone therapy can be used for all sorts of problems. And our first show was on January 10th. So going back to the archives, it'd be easy to find if you want to scroll to January 10th, 2014, or just plug Frank Shallenberger's name in the search engine, and more than likely 3 shows will come up, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Part 1 is just a general one where Frank came on board and was talking about how ozone therapy really got its initiation here. After all, Frank saw that in Germany, when he was over there taking a course, and I forget what the course exactly was, but he noticed that a lot of doctors in Germany, literally he said, on every street corner, were using ozone therapy, and here we were in the United States and we're not. That was perplexing to Dr. Shallenberger, and it was never forgotten, only to return back to the United States and put into play that which he had learned over there and has shepherded and nurtured and guided the use of ozone therapy over these many years since then. So Dr. Frank Shallenberger was our big guest in January, a very much requested and repeated show. As you'll see in a moment, there are a couple ways to get all 3 of the shows, but this started back then on January 10th. Now, also in January, because I just met him once again at the conference with Dr. Shallenberger, the godfather of chelation therapy, named Dr. Gary Gordon, came on our show. It was pretty comical because when he took to the airways, I think I asked him one question, and he just didn't stop. He went and just ran with it. I think he took a breath once or twice, but I just said, what the heck, let him go. And that show is very memorable. I get a lot of comments on the show, some that didn't like the fact that he was so verbal and abrasive, others who said, that guy is amazing. So I think he's pretty amazing too. I say that if you want to re-listen to the show, why don't you dial Dr. Gary Gordon up on January 20th, 2014, the godfather of chelation therapy and the wizard of continued alternative care. He actually sits on AHIMA. He's on the board. He was very instrumental in developing AHIMA, which is the Arizona Homeopathic and Integrative Medical Association. He was the guy that put that thing together. His base of operations continues to be Phoenix, Arizona, and he is well placed and certainly deserves all the respect coming to him. Gary Gordon, our guest for January 20th. Okay, I flipped the page. Let's move to February 2014. And you know, wasn't too far behind. We could not wait to get Dr. Frank Shallenberger back on the show, and he consented to come back on our show on February 7th. So mark that down. If you want to head to the archives, his second show, we called it Ozone 2, was on that Friday. And, of course, his office and his time frame, of course, he is in Carson City, Nevada. Quite a few hours difference in time. It was nice enough to consent to allowing us to get him up so he could do a live show with us. And I'm just really so happy that he did. In the second show, he really talked about MAH, which of course is the major IV administration of ozone therapy that he's so famous for. And so MAH, major autohemotherapy, was one of the two ways that Frank said that you can appreciate ozone therapy and be able to receive ozone therapy. Intravenously, it moves throughout the entire body. It touches every cell. And it essentially does two things. I think these two things come out loud and clear. Number one, it is just an outstanding antimicrobial. So no matter what the source of the microbe, whether it be a virus, a bacteria, a fungi, or a parasite, ozone has a potent antimicrobial effect that there's no organism that can resist it. It will attack, and it will be able to eradicate those organisms. The second thing, which comes across loud and clear with ozone therapy, and I think it's almost humorous because I can remember at one point in doing the shows with Frank, every time he spoke, he would say, well, for this particular thing, you use ozone. And then he would say, well, for this other thing, you'd use ozone. And it just seemed that no matter what the medical problem, he kept referring to ozone as the treatment of choice. So finally, I just obviously had to come up and ask him, hey, Frank, every time you mention the name of disease, it's ozone this and ozone that. I said, is there any disease? Is there any disorder, any dysfunction for which ozone shouldn't be used? And the answer was a resounding absolutely not. And that's when we got right down to the nitty-gritty on why it is that ozone is so unique. And of course, it has to do with the fact that the oxidation therapies, of which there are only 3, and oxygenation therapies are not oxidation therapies. So there are only 3 oxidation therapies. They are IV hydrogen peroxide. They are IV ozone therapy called MAH, and they are ultraviolet blood irradiation. These are the 3 oxidative therapies, and all 3 of these have one function that make it superior to any other treatment, and that is it is able to restore mitochondrial function back to optimal levels. And as it turns out, it's the mitochondrial function that really determines whether the cells are healthy enough to do the job that they were expected to do. In fact, we know that when the mitochondria of a cell, so just think of it this way, there are 30 trillion cells, more or less, that make up the human body. Every one of those cells has a nucleus. So there are 30 trillion nuclei. But in each nucleus are thousands of individual organelles referred to as mitochondria. And the job of the mitochondria is to burn fuel from food and produce chemical energy in the form of something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Now, that's as far into the weeds as I'm going to get on this subject, but ATP and how well it's made is what determines how healthy you are. And as we know by Dr. Shallenberger's work, that there's an optimal range, that on the best day of your healthy life, when all the planets are aligned, when you are working like a machine. I often said Lance Armstrong, before he was doping, as I found out later, Lance Armstrong pretty much acting as a machine, could, on a good day, for every mole of fat that he consumed, make up to, but not exceed, 36 moles of ATP. It is the 36 moles of ATP, which is the energy that is optimal for any given cell. Now, if somebody is functioning at 1 to 36 moles of ATP, they are not ill. In fact, they are extremely healthy. In fact, they are vital and vivacious, and they don't have to worry about disease entities at all if they can operate at 1 to 36. Our problems are as we become dysfunctional, as disease takes over our cells and our systems, it throws off the mitochondrial equation to what? Maybe for every mole of fat we consume, maybe we're making 26 moles of ATP. Or how about making only 16? Or how about 6? Because depending on how afflicted the cells are, the ratio could be that far off. Well, only the oxidative therapies, only those three, hydrogen peroxide and ozone and ultraviolet blood radiation, are able to get these ratios back to that 1 to 36 ideal. And as you approach it, your level of health literally becomes meteoric, goes right through the ceiling. And that's the beauty of ozone. And that was the message brought to us by Dr. Schallenberger, February 7th, 2014, for Ozone Part 2. Now, in that month, on the 19th of the month, we had Samantha, compounding pharmacist from Estes, come and talk to us about cataract eye drops. It's a big thing around here. A lot of folks with cataracts are looking to be able to dissolve, if they can, cataract formations to avoid surgeries, which I believe is a wonderful idea. It really is not a good way to do that in the conventional realm, but there appears to be a wonderful opportunity to potentially dissolve those through the use of a combination of 3 healthy substances which can do just that. It's a combination of DMSO, 6.25%, as well as glutathione and vitamin C. And the combination of those 3 is able to penetrate the external structures of the eye through the help of the DMSO, which is a major penetrant, and then riding into the inner chambers of the eye on the back of the DMSO are both the vitamin C and the glutathione, having a wonderful possibility to dissolve and remove those cataract formations. Anyway, if you want to hear more about the compounding of eye drops used specifically for the dissolving of cataracts, completely endorsed by Dr. Ed Condrat and originally developed by Dr. Robert Rowan. Some big names that have been promoting the use of those drops for years. If you've had cataracts and you feel you want to be able to have an opportunity to dissolve them without having the surgery, you can contact us at 724-942-3002, and talk to Sister Sarah, and we'll let her get you on track to do just that. So here we are in February 2014. Another good show. We did those on the 26th with Sven Hosford. We mentioned him because he's involved with the publication of a unique little journal called the Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. Literally comes out every quarter. We have written articles in every one of the lifestyle journals that have been published over the year, February till now. And I would strongly recommend that you get copies of them. We carry copies of each one of these in the office, but our initial one was on ozone, then on the eye program, then recently on the use of frequency-specific microcurrent. And I want to keep on writing these articles just to put a marker out there so that the public has a way to learn a bit about each one of these therapies so as to quench their um, enthusiasm and they want to inquire more, they can come on in to see us here at the office. But Sven Hosford presented his first program, first publication, to us on the 26th of February 2014. As I say, we still do carry copies in the office to this very day. Okay, let's flip the page now. We're going to March. And I have to say that the show that was hit of shows in March was a show we did with Dr. Lisa Bowen. And Dr. Lisa Bowen is a optometrist. She works in the McMurray and South Hills area. And I brought her on board because I wanted her to describe in the best way she could the treatment for cataracts as she knows them in the conventional medical world. And although I already knew the answer to the question, and certainly so did she, I think it was important for you to hear from a eye professional that really there is no treatment for cataracts in the conventional realm other than surgery. And as we're finding out, a surgery that has associated with it some pretty serious consequences. Within a few years, patients develop macular degeneration in the affected eye within 3 years. And so to avoid them, it turns out to be a laudable goal of your treatment. And I would refer you to what I call a platinum show done with Dr. Lisa Bowen, the date of which is March 12th. Cue it up. Go on to YouTube. First of all, go to djcmd.com. And on the opening page, click on the icon marked Archives, and it will take you to YouTube. And then you can either type in Dr. Lisa Bowen in the search engine, and or you can scroll to March 12th, 2014, and be able to listen to the show. It was one of our platinum shows, very much requested, and I enjoyed being able to have her on the show and on the air with me. All right. Let's do this. Take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the month of April 2014. By the way, if you have a question or comment you want to make, you can give us a call. 412-825-6262 is the number to do that. That's 412-825-6262. We'll be back in a moment with April 2014. Be right back. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. We're here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today, the Monday morning version of the show. End of the year Monday morning. We're going in our year in review part 1 today. Sort of walking through the scheduling book and looking at the first 6 months of 2014, bringing to your attention the guests that we brought to you maybe a little bit about each of those guests, something interesting about the show as we presented it, and then giving you the opportunity by knowing the date to just go back and listen to the show if you have a mind to by heading to our archives at djcmd.com. That's djcmd.com. On the opening page, click on the icon marked archives. You'll be taken to YouTube, and from there you can just scroll away or use the search engine to get where you need to get. In April 2014, we had the conclusion of the trilogy, All Good Things Come in Threes, and our third show with Dr. Frank Shallenberger, which we concluded on April 4th. Really was a wonderful testimony to him in completing this three-ring show. We talked about the second way that ozone therapy is administered, and that is into the joints of afflicted individuals through a procedure invented by Frank called Prolozone. It's a much requested way of dealing with painful problems that just appeared never to go away. Frank was pretty adamant about using it in just about every situation. In fact, I think the best way to pose this was I asked him directly out there on the show. I said, Frank, what if you had a patient and the patient has surgical indications? A surgeon wants to do a surgery to correct a pain problem. Should that patient with these clear-cut indications get that surgery done, or do you think they should have ozone? Now, he didn't hesitate. He didn't bat an eye. He said, without a doubt, do not, repeat, do not have that surgery. 85%, I think it's a pretty nice number to keep in mind, 85% of the time, whether you have surgical indications or not, ozone therapy is able to regenerate tissue and restore normal function without the invasiveness of a surgery. So I pass that on to you. I think that was wise advice back then. I think it continues to be wise advice to this very day. Prolozone is available here in the office through the protocols that we offer you. And I hold those three shows out now, January, February, and April of 2014, as the Ozone Trilogy with Dr. Frank Shallenberger, the godfather of ozone therapy. We carry them on disc. If you want a copy of the disc so you can listen to it on the road, we can do that too. I think it's one of the most widely requested discs that we've ever had. We carry them in the office. Stop by, pick one up. Be happy to give you one and enjoy it. And we'll continue with Dr. Frank Shallenberger. We're trying to get him here for the summer. He promised me that he'd come. I will promise you that I'll continue to exert my influence to try to get him here. Many of you want to meet him face to face, and I can certainly understand why. All right. April was a very big month. Also in April, who did we have? Oh, we had a brilliant physician, actually a cardiologist who makes more sense in non-cardiology things than he ever did as a cardiologist. I'm talking about Dr. Tom Levy, a brilliant clinician and investigator introducing and launching his new book. Highly controversial. It has caused some real consternation by many of the hosts on KHB. The name of the book, Death by Calcium. Can you remember me starting the show something like this? I would say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. And by the way, did you throw away your calcium supplements today? And by the way, too, did you pour that glass of milk down the sink? I know that got everybody all riled up, but that's exactly the message that Dr. Tom Levy wanted to get to you. Do not, I repeat, do not supplement with calcium. Intuitively, you would think that to replace calcium in the bone, well, the best way to do that is to take calcium by mouth. As it turns out, it actually isn't the way to do it. There are better ways and more appropriate ways. I think the better message, the message that really leaves you completely confused, is when you take calcium, every disease known to man and all early deaths go through the roof for those who take the calcium. Now, that was a big revelation. I carry the book. I leave it on my office desk. And if you have questions about calcium and how to improve the calcium content of your bone, and you thought that you were supposed to take calcium because your doctor put you on it, don't think so. A quick list of what you do take, and I'm only going to make it a quick list, so hopefully we'll refer you to Dr. Levy and the show that we did on April the 7th. Here's the list of things that will reverse the loss of calcium. Number 1, vitamin C daily. Number 2, magnesium to bowel tolerance. Number 3, vitamin D levels to normal, and normal is in the 90 range, not the 33 range that allows you to just sort of make it over the low side of normal. Vitamin K2, essential fatty acids, the list goes on. There are 3 hormones that are involved: estrogens, testosterone, and thyroid. Also remove all toxic substances like heavy metals, and finally get dentistry issues corrected. That comes in the form of mercury amalgam, root canal teeth, and previously extracted teeth that can lead to cavitations, and we'll let it go at that. Should also mention in that month that he came to Pittsburgh. The very week that we had him on the 7th, he was here at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group meeting. That was on the 10th of the month, and then came back on the 30th of the month, Dr. Levy did, to do a final show on this issue. It caused a lot of controversy. There are still clinicians who are reeling from this and just can't quite make the hurdle that somehow calcium can be bad. I know that intuitively it doesn't make sense, but do the investigation. Turns out it does. Dr. Thomas Levy, our guest. 3 different ways in the month of April 2014. The shows you want to go to listen to his story: April 7th, that's a Monday; April 30th, that's a Wednesday; and there may even be his video of his lecture out on the Freedom of Choice meeting on the 10th that still might be available. So it's a very powerful topic. It's a very powerful book, and quite a powerful author to put that book together, Dr. Thomas Levy. Okay, also in April, big deal. On the 14th, Dr. Thomas Lowe came aboard to talk about his level of expertise in ultraviolet blood irradiation, UBI as we refer to it, and that we do it sort of tandem with our ozone therapies. It is the two of the 3 now. Instead of doing IV hydrogen peroxide as we had in the past, since we have approval from the FDA to use ozone and UBI together, is that double whammy combination. If you want to learn more about ultraviolet blood irradiation, then head on up to the archives and dial up April 14th. Tom Lowe, ultraviolet blood irradiation, should have just about everything there that you need. One additional show I did, a lot of questions were coming at me about ozone in the month of April. It was still a very new concept for most. So I dug through the literature and I came up with the 13 benefits of ozone therapy. And I did a show on that. And that's on the 21st. They weren't benefits that I considered for my own personal rating. They were actually the 13 benefits of ozone therapy as seen by Dr. Frank Schallenberger. And I felt that they would be interestingly enough to pass on to you. And so I say to you, if you want to hear more about the 13 benefits of ozone therapy, head to April 21st, a Monday, and listen to the shows that we did on that topic, and you'll be very pleased. Final show I think is worth mentioning on the 23rd were the 10 worst energy drinks. Made a big thing about the 10 worst energy drinks. This is just about the time that Beresha was making its self and its presence noted in terms of the go-to drinks that did meet all the needs of a very healthy drink and did all nothing but good things and didn't do anything to hurt you. So I referred to the 10 worst energy drinks, and that was on the 23rd. Hope you enjoy traveling down memory lane once again on those. Okay. Now, in May. May was an interesting month. This was the month of Top Docs. This was a Very nice event held out there in Phoenix, Arizona. 20 of the top alternative doctors throughout the country presented chapters of a book. I was fortunate enough to be invited as a contributor to the Top Doc 20 and presented along with 19 others at the event held at the Point Hilton Squaw Peak out there in Phoenix, Arizona. And then, of course, it laid the groundwork to be able to bring these top 20 docs on my radio show for the following months after I return from the May 2014 event. One of the top docs that we did bring on board was named Boyd Haley. He is absolutely the go-to person when it comes to heavy metal toxicity. The previous head of the chemistry department at the University of Kentucky, and now has just pretty much got everybody upset because whenever he takes the stand, whenever he testifies, he's a PhD in chemistry that pretty much has credentials you cannot flinch at. He packs a big wallop, and he actually gets people pretty frightened that go up against him. Anyway, Boyd Haley, good friend of ours here, was our guest on the 12th of May. I strongly suggest that you listen to the recap of the show. All right, here we come to June. And it was action-packed. Why was it action-packed? Because these were the top docs that I met in Phoenix in May who promised me that they would come on board and be able to give their chapter and their topic to my listeners that weren't able to make it to the Phoenix, Arizona venue in the previous month. So get a load of the lineup that we had in June. These are all great shows that you can listen to at any time. The first was, and he was not one of the top 20 docs, but I was able to meet him because of being out there in Phoenix. His name was Dr. Chris Miletus, and he did a wonderful show on a product called Neo 40. This is the ability to generate nitric oxide through the discoveries of a cardiologist, Brian, Dr. Brian, and I refer anybody to that show that'd like to learn more about a supplement now that has two benefits. One, you can use a stick, and by touching it to the tongue, you can measure the amount of nitric oxide in the system, and then you can take a supplement to improve it. We have put the full force of our reputation behind it. Neo 40 is a top-notch product. Dr. Chris Miletus, who's a naturopathic physician from Bastyr, was an expert when it came to describing it. We enjoyed having this show with him. He was on our show June 6th. I urge you to go back and listen to it again. Carl Robinson was on the 9th. He was talking about aluminum toxicity. One of the top docs. Absolutely enjoyed doing the show with him. Hey, the next show we did on the 11th, Dr. Mike Margolis, a biological dentist who came on board and had a wonderful presentation that he gave out in Arizona. Of course, that is his stomping ground. He practices dentistry in Arizona, and he certainly does a heck of a good job of it, but he spent time talking about biological dentistry and the benefits of it and the pitfalls of not having it. Mark Starr on the 16th. It just kept coming, folks. Mark Starr was our guest. He is a guru of thyroid. He was one of the top docs. He wrote a chapter in the book on thyroid disease, and he has been on the show a couple of times. His first effort with us was on March 16th, and we enjoyed having him here. On the 18th, and another top doc came on the show with us. His name is Dr. Lee Cowden. He was talking about cancer treatment and the role that emotions play in cancer. It was a fascinating topic. I recommend that anybody with cancer or with a loved one that has cancer, you've got to really get to this emotional component. A heck of a case was made for it by Dr. Lee Cowden. The date, June 18th. Dial up and listen to it again. Then on the 23rd, we had Bruce Shelton with us. He's actually the current president of AHIMA. the Arizona Homeopathic Medical Integrated Medical Association, and he talked about homeopathy. I thought he did a wonderful job on the 23rd. I strongly urge you to dial it up. And we found that Dr. Ed Conrad. I see him here. This was literally on Friday. It was our first following of Dr. Ed Conrad as he took the walk in the Camino de Santiago. This was a passageway in the northern tip of Spain, literally from where France meets Spain, all the way to the tomb of one of the previous popes. And this was a 31-day effort. We had him on the show many times. I just mentioned it to us. That was his startup. That's when we caught up with him, and we brought him to the show many, many, many times after that. Okay. That pretty much is how the first 6 months unfolded here. I strongly urge you to go to the website and just scroll. There are other shows that we did. I didn't mention them. Just sort of had to limit them to the top people, but plenty of the shows that we did also have benefits to you as a patient and could be easily re-listened to again. That's why we do the shows. That's why we put them up on the website so that you can have them at your disposal. Leaf on through there and scroll through to find if there's a particular show for you. One that I may have mentioned, one that I may not have, but it certainly has been a pleasure doing these for you. We, of course, look forward to our return on Wednesday when we start out in the month of July and take it all the way to December. Some more recent shows, but nonetheless, people who brought powerful messages to us so that we could learn from them. And I'll be talking to you about the wonderful guests, the dates that they were here, and how you can go find more on them and re-listen to these shows as time moves on in the months of July through December as part 2 of the year in review continues. All right. Now, just to point out, don't want to miss an opportunity. On Saturday, this Saturday, we're going to have a meet, greet, and treat out there at the Dr. Tyson Swigert office. It's called South Point Chiropractic. It is found at the exit of I-79 at South Point. And once you get off the exit, you don't go towards South Point. You head away from it toward the Hendersonville red light. And once you hit that light, you'll see the shopping center off to your left. That'll be at 10 o'clock. Give us a call to let us know you're coming. The number is 724-942-3002. We're going to have an opportunity to introduce you to Patricia Szymanski. She'll be with us on Friday, by the way, to talk a bit about this too. But want to get you ready to come on out and visit us on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, for about an hour and a half. Meet Patricia, meet Dr. Tyson Swigert, meet myself if you haven't met me before, so we can get you comfortable about spending 10 weeks with the utilizing the TLS program, the Transitions Lifestyle Systems. If it's weight loss in your mind, what a perfect time to do it. New Year's resolutions being what they are. If it's a carbohydrate intolerance, boy, that's another big reason I send people to get this kind of work done, and I look forward to be able to have you become involved with that so that you can shave off points on your blood sugar and absolutely percentages off your hemoglobin A1C. This is usually the problem one that we got to get control of, and this program can and will do it. Also, too, it is a meet, greet, and treat. We're going to have our first Beresha testing, the opportunity for you to have attempt to sample the go-to products. I think you need something to drink. Let's go to. It could be water, absolutely. Filtered water is wonderful, but there's no thermogenicity with water. There are with the 3 drinks: the coffee, the tea, and the lemonade made by Beresha. We'll have an opportunity to allow you to try them on that at that particular occasion. That'll be this Saturday, coming up, 10 o'clock, out there at the Tyson Swigert office, Route 79, exit at South Point. We'll let it go at that. All right. Folks, it was a pleasure having an opportunity to spend some time with you today. I will look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, where we'll finish off the remainder of the year. Bring some interesting opportunities for you to be involved with things we're doing in our offices, too. Up-and-coming eye programs. I want to mention, forgot to mention, there is a free eye seminar for those of you who have eye afflictions and are considering doing maybe an Ed Conrad program, a 3-day treatment program. That's going to be held on the 5th of January, 5:30 in my office. About an hour and a half to talk about what the 3-day programs consist of, get your questions answered, and give us a call if you'd like to be a part of it. The number, dial us up is 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002. Ask for Sister Sarah, and we'll see you on that afternoon. Okay. Have a wonderful day. Have a great, we'll be talking to you on New Year's Eve day to get you ready for New Year's Eve and the new year. Till then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for An Impact on Your Health.